Hi, everyone. This is the Option Talks program, and today we have a very, very special guest, Han Bennink. Thanks for meeting us from Netherlands, Han. It's great to see you.
I can.
Yeah, I want to give a big thanks to Emma Fisher and Terry Hessels, for contributing a huge amount of work towards this particular episode. They met with Han where he lives, where Han did some performances, some solo music, and talked to Terry about different aspects of his career, Han's career. So there's a lot to go over. So a huge thanks to you, Han, for being here. Thanks to Annemiek Vink for helping with the technical stuff, and of course ESS for making these shows possible. But let's dive right in. This is a first piece and some talking with Terry, and we'll come back and talk to Han directly. Thanks so much, and thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Dat is 1. Sorry hoor.
Wow. Heel goed.
Nou, Terry, heb je een vraag?
Oh ja. Mag ik hier zitten?
Ja, ik zo neerzet.
Nee, kijk. When you... Dan moeten we het in Engels doen.
Right.
Nee, when you started as a kid,
Yeah.
how quick did you realize you wanted to become a drummer? How did that go?
Very good question. I think I always wanted to be a drummer. Because where the drumming is now, it's totally different thing how I started. I started with a tuxedo, like Unterhaltungsmusik. But I did all sort of stuff. I played for striptease dancers. I played with the crap of the Dutch scene. Popie dopie as we call it.
Yeah.
But then, and being in art, I just wanted to develop it to another level.
Yeah.
And now I'm not able to stay for 4 or 5 beats like what I want to do, what you have to do as a drummer, because I like to travel.
Yeah,
I
of
like to
course,
travel.
yeah.
And when I give one beat, the other beat is already, or I'm waiting for it, it's coming. I really don't know. I have no idea. I cannot read musical notation. For me, it's all fly poop on a piece of white paper. For the rest, yeah, it's one big struggle.
Yeah, but when you started, when did you realize you were different than other drummers? You could go.
Yeah, that's what I realized actually very late, because you, for example, are a very original player, but I wanted to be like Kenny Clarke till I realized, Kenny Clarke, you're Han Bennink, you have a totally different background, your color is different, you lived in different time and in different scene, but still he's my main influence. And when I played Time, for example, I always wanted to play like him, like the big drummers, like Joe or Big Sid Cat, that stuff like that. Yeah. But then since I gather all this stuff from different countries, I was also interested what sort of music was going with the statues from Africa, what tribe and so on. So I was very much on that scene also. I grabbed here and there and borrowed here and there. And it's actually this one melting pot, and they now call it my style. But in principle, I'm stylish. I have no style.
Very good.
Music going with the statues from Africa, what tribe. So I was very much on that scene. I grabbed here and there and borrowed here and there. This one melting pot, and then I call it my style. But in principle, I'm stylish. I have no style.
Yeah, that was super incredible. The amazing way to open up, and I just get so charged with excitement. You're the way you're sticking with the playing on the drum is just so.
Thank you.
Exciting, man. I like.
That's more than I deserve.
I wanted to talk a little bit about your early history and some musicians that, for me, who come from the States, who are super important. Eric Dolphy, Sonny Rollins, and Don Cherry.
Yes.
You were in your early 20s when you recorded with Eric Dolphy the Last Date album, which is a classic. Just recently, a new album's come out with you playing with Sonny Rollins from the mid 60s. It's tremendous. And then you did all this work with Don Cherry. When you were younger, and getting to meet and play with these like iconic figures, what was it like? I mean, how was it like to meet and play with Dolphy, for example?
First of all, Ken, thanks for all that. We had a person living in Amsterdam. We called him Uncle Ben, and that was Ben Webster.
Ah, yeah.
And Ben Webster used to walk with a red racing bike over the street. Nobody saw him ever sitting on that. But then he was on his way to a cafe where he was always playing every afternoon billiards, and that was Don Byers. So Don Byers and Ben Webster in one fucking cafe in Amsterdam. Hello, that's all right. And I used to play with those guys on and on, and it was mainly. I remember one thing. I think I was in 1967. I was playing in a quartet with Ben Webster, and in the intermission I did a duet with Misha. And then Ben came to me before I wanted to start the second set, and he was already a little bit used, but he almost wanted to kill me of doing this this music with a Misha Mengelberg person. That was not his thing. I could play in his way, and I could play the Don Byers. You used to play very fast tempi. Later on, Ruud Jacobs, the same bass player where I worked with Sonny Rollins, we used to play with Lucky Thompson. And Lucky Thompson was the same shit, man. It was so fast. It was like, and they wanted it like a stripe. They wanted it precise. No fucking around, not did that. But I was interested in what was happening in New York. I remember when Albert Ayler came in 1964 to Holland to the studio with Sonny Murray, who was not playing time or whatever, and Gary Peacock, who I also recorded later with. It was a totally different way of playing. I was very impressed to see that. So in the time I was still a reasonable good timekeeper, but when Sonny came, that was for me a totally different thing. I grew up with Sonny, his recordings from 1957, live at the Village Vanguard, which is one of my favorite drummers, Peter Rocca and other guys. I've seen Peter Rocca in the trio with Henry Grimes. It was unbelievable. But the timing of Rollins, the rhythmical thing, and the humor, it was like coming home playing with him. And the album is now 53 years old. And I'm so proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm so incredible proud of it. It's so because at that time when I played with Sonny, I also played with Peter Brötzmann. I also played with Willem Breuker. Well, they are good saxophone players, but they are not the greatest time players like Rollins is. Be fair, let the dog see the rabbit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what attracted you? I mean, like you talk about time and about like, conventional time, let's say, like a pulse time.
Yeah.
Playing like someone like Lucky Thompson or Sonny Rollins and playing in that way. And you're amazing at it and still are amazing at playing time in that way. What attracted you to like when you heard Albert Ayler and then when you were working with Breuker and Brötzmann, like the totally different approach to time? What was it about that more broken up feeling or expressive use of time?
Yeah, right. Very, very, very good question. It has to do with the thing when I went to the art school, Ken, we took our own CDs, Monk, for example, to the classroom, and we played it the whole day. That was possible to do. But I also wanted to be informed at that time. At that time, I still wanted to know what actually was happening in America, like the love scene, like Albert Ayler, Giuseppe Logan, like Milford, like Sonny Murray, who I later on knew very well, and I did met Milford at Bennington College finally, and the best friends. It was that change where I was interested on. Only that, not music-wise, only. So I said, okay, playing no time. Well, I was actually thinking of putting my drum kit in a hailstorm, and then contact microphones on every part of the drum kit, and then you have the best weather reports recording what you ever want to have. Anyway, more that direction. But I think even for example, Ken, the whole thing like free music production. My ass, there is no free music. But does free music means no tempo? Yeah, hello. But that's easy. Because playing tempo, you have to play tempo. And there were like a couple of tandem teams in jazz, like Big Shit Cat. Lately, I saw Sonny Payne and Eddie Jones in the big band of Count Basie. I know Louis Hayes, Sam Jones, Philly Joe, and Paul Chambers, Kenny Clark, Ray Brown, Kenny Clark, and Percy Heath. Ray Brown and Tickpan. I mean, those are rhythm sections. They play to come together. And but the other way of playing, it was like a sort of qigong. You stay like a middle in the stream, and you like to avoid all what's going around you. You know what I mean? But when it comes to playing drums, that's why I like, for example, my dear friend from Chicago, Hamid, so much. I've never been playing with a drummer in what was it, the Empty Bottle? There's a red hole there. And I've never been playing so nice with Hamid. Even Abbas and other people were afraid to come in because Hamid and me were steaming, and we all the time talk about it. But it's very with some drummers. I can't come that close, but he probably has the same feeling into a rhythm or into a pulse, what I also have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That concert with you and Hamid was so extraordinary. I mean, the communication, the give and take, it was awe-inspiring, really incredible. Well, let's go a little bit more of your playing now. And then when we come back, I'd like to talk a little bit about the trio you had with Peter Brötzmann and Fred Van Hove, which for me is incredibly important in the way it transformed the way I think about improvised music. But let's have a little bit more of your just recorded solo material. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. If you didn't know already, this is Han Bennink, a very special guest. It's the Option Talk series. If you can, please donate. All the funds will go to Han. And as we know, musicians really haven't been able to work over the last near year and a half. So the funds are deeply appreciated. And this is Han Bennink solo. Here we go.
Ja, hij loopt.
When you are improvising together with people, what makes it good, or what elements does it all depend on?
Jesus, Terry, you come with such difficult questions. And
it is a difficult
absolutely
question.
true. When you, first of all, I love to play in smaller groups. That answers your question already.
Yeah.
Because if you are a duo or a trio, the possibilities in duo, it's like a tennis match. That's why we call it ICP 014 eine Partie Tischtennis.
Yeah.
That means but when there's a third person involved, makes it more difficult, more complex. And I like the duo setup. It's more direct. You play something or you ask me something, well, you get right away an answer, and then when you play with 3 or 4, it's almost impossible. I have to make the rules. Otherwise, for example, when you play with a quartet, I like to break it up immediately into two duo players or duets who can erupt by themselves. But when they all play together, I know it's done so often, and I did it in my college career so often with Peter Brötzmann, for example. We all started from zero, and that was that style at that moment. I like, I'm very straight guy for myself. You can see it in the house, and I like it in the music too. But on the same time, I like it totally wild.
Yeah,
but I like to also come back somehow.
Yeah.
I really like that. So for me, the duos are the most interesting things for me to play in. You have for yourself more space to explore yourself.
Yeah.
And it's not so complex, that's the whole thing.
And the moment that you go a totally different direction, where does that depend on? Or?
That depends on a sort of automatically a button what I switch in the head. And of course I'm a guy who can play time, but can also do, let's call it abstract way. And I like to work with that, like a painter who paints something. It's totally abstract, but there's also figurative item in it. I just like that.
Yeah.
but that can depend from one moment to another moment. You were talking this morning. There happened something on stage, or you were busy on stage with the neck of the guitar, and there was suddenly a spider. Those things are fantastic for me. I call that stuff objet trouvé. You are on the road and you find something.
Yeah.
And that's also the time I'm, for myself, very interested in. Dadaism, Kurzwitters, playing with words, strange meanings, but still very basical in a way.
Yeah. And it depends, sometimes it depends also on the audience or not, or on the
Never.
reaction, or
No, never.
Yeah.
Because when I've been playing for 5 people, but I've also playing for 200,000 people, and it's even more difficult. What also is very difficult is playing in the open air, like I do now, because nothing is coming back. It's going in the air right away. Now, I'm always happy when there are big audience to play for. But for myself, I never look for a festival to go there by myself, not playing and being in that audience. My kids totally different, but me, no way. I never was like that. But of course, it's nice when you have a big audience, when they come and see you. That means you can come again. When you have an audience of 5 people, they never want you back.
Yeah.
It's still something, But it's never.
But it must also feel sometimes different when you feel that the audience gets it or has more distance. Or,
yeah, but I'm not like that.
No.
I found it a cheap solution. They go for that now. Then you have it also. Here it is. Yeah. I like to play for audience to surprise them, and not to come on their level. No, they have to come on your level somehow playing. And I don't want to be disturbed either, because I'm a light disturbed. Okay, like my dog. That, for example, are things what I really like. That certainly Hansje is barking and taking over. That's it. Now, it's nice when you have a big audience and they really go for it. But from that point of extremes, you guys play in a totally different setup. Bigger venues, more that and that. No.
Yeah, but for me it's interesting to see how that works with free improvisation and then the.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know that because I mostly play with my eyes closed, so I have no time to look.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nou, dat was dit.
Okay.
Goed.
Hi everyone. I want to know if Terry or Emma paid the dog to bark at that moment.
No.
About good time.
This doggy is called Hansje, not Han, but Hansje. And she's with us about 5.5 years. It's a lovely dog. We have, it's like a child, but she's coming with us, living with us. She's also on the newest recording of ICP.
Oh, it's on the that's the dog on the record. Oh,
yeah. and they think that dog is strange. Not at all, man.
That's
it's
so
just the timing. It's just the timing.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to say there's a bunch of folks tuning in from all over the world, listening live, and Steve Beresford wanted to say hello. And
no way. I've been listening so far to your program. Shit, man, you must be famous.
Well, I think you have something to do with it today, huh?
Wow. A big kiss for Steve.
Okay, I'll definitely. Hey,
a Brexit kiss.
Yeah, no kidding. Hang on. Okay, I wanted to, as I mentioned, I wanted to talk a little bit about the trio you had with Peter Brötzmann and Fred Van Hove. And I remember hearing recordings before ever being able to see any footage of the band playing. and the intensity of it when I first heard it, like, attracted me, like just the ferocity and the energy of the music. And I was visiting Peter in Wuppertal once, and he played me a video of a performance that you did. I think it was on for German TV. And seeing the performance, as usual with live music, I mean, this was obviously a video, but like seeing people play is so transformative. And in this case, totally changed my understanding, or what I felt was my understanding of the music. In that performance, there was a point midway through where you were playing the drums, you stood up and walked off stage. Peter kept playing. You couldn't hear Fred Van Hove at all.
Yeah.
Then Peter would breathe, and you'd hear a little of Fred. Then you came back in with all this, like, I don't know, cardboard boxes or something, and started throwing it at the drums. And there was so much tension between the musicians. I mean, it felt visually, oops. Oh no, we lost Mr. Bennink for a second. We'll have to get him back. Okay, let's go to the next video while we find Han Bennink. Thanks for tuning in, and sorry that my question was so terrible. Hey, Ralph, cue up the next video. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Okay.
Klaar.
Right. And did it ever happen that you didn't succeed in playing with somebody? That you don't find an exit out or enough excitement? Or...
And that is the worst thing what can come to you. I think I had it a couple of weeks ago. No, I had it in Arnhem, where I had to play with two younger guys, and it had to do with the album I made 53 years ago with Sonny Rollins.
Yeah.
And they wanted to have a trio, so it were two very nice Dutch guys, but from music was no word, not even. And I feel totally lame done.
Yeah.
And also, I must say, it's always my fault. I hate myself, even when I play with a trio or a duo, that I can't change the music my way, or that I think this is my responsibility, and it's happening to send it out, send it in the world. Like you make a CD, you take verantwoordelijkheid, responsibility for that moment you do. But when it's not happening on stage, it's fucking hell.
Yeah.
It's really hell. And that can be many cases, but it's always you.
Yeah. But it can also depend on someone's character when somebody else is really bad-mooded or rough to you in the dressing room. Kind of stuff.
That's one of the reasons. Or when they gave me, and I'm always saying, put the drum kit down, and I have to play on a heavy metal kit with the black things on the heads. And then, I can do that. I take it all, but then suddenly on the trip, while you're playing, it's not happening. And then you start saying, fuck it. Yeah. That big drum kit, I didn't order that, and so on and so on. So you look for a mistake, for a fault you did, but you have to do it yourself. But those are weak points. Thank God it doesn't happen so often.
No. But it can also be the other musician who you don't like.
Sure.
Those kind of things, subtle things in the way also.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Or you're deadly tired from traveling and you still have to do it. Yeah. That can be one of the reasons, or somebody drunk screaming to you on stage. There are many reasons, but you still. I look for the mistake, for the fault always by myself, and I hate myself at that point that I can't change it. But my head is so blocked. I can't do it. Those are heavy things.
I can imagine.
Real heavy. Ja, het is heel moeilijk. Butterfly.
Dit is mooi. Een kortstukje.
Je moet een beetje bijblijven, er komen af en toe van die berichten hier.
Hi everyone, we found Han Bennink again, and the internet is cooperating in the Netherlands. Apparently Schiphol is screwing it up. Before dropped out, I was asking a question about the trio with Peter Brötzmann and Fred Van Hove that was in existence in the early 70s. And just wanted to talk about the approach to improvising as a group, because when I saw the footage from German TV, it seemed like the playing, for lack of a better word, was kind of antagonistic. It wasn't about group communication and interaction. It was more like each person holding their own path and pushing against the other. And I wanted to see if you could talk a little bit about that, because for me that was revelatory. I'd never really thought about approaching improvisation from that standpoint, and that trio's music is stunning from my perspective. So if you could talk a little bit about how you thought about that group, or playing with Misha Mengelberg, a different approach to communication.
Well, we first played with Peter with his totally well-known album, Machine Gun. I didn't like that at all. But when I tell you why. We played in the club Lila Oile, where I used to play all those years before. Then Willem Breuke and me got into a fight with a Norwegian soldier who called us anti-German. Of course we were a little bit bored in the Second World War. I can't help that. My first word I could say was Rotmov. And that's not like Lovely Daddy, no, like... Anyway, we played there, and then we had to do the recording session again. I woke up, I think like 4:30 o'clock, call it a yurt. A yurt is a tent from Mongolia, a house where you live, but this was all like old, hoe noem je dat nou, dingen waar je in slaapt. Dekens.
Old blankets.
Oh yeah, old blankets. I was sitting in a hut of old blankets in a frame. I could hear nothing what was going on, although there were like quite some heavy players going on there. I heard nothing. And then I almost fell asleep, and the recording session, thank God, was over. That album became famous. And I always hated that when I think people are asked Peter for that, because in that time it was like a little move to say too close to Captain Beefheart, who was Dutch, also painting, and playing loudly and loudly. It was never my famous album. We had later on a quartet with the late Bushy Niebergau, and then we played with the trio with Fred, Brutz and me quite a bit. We were famous in Montreux, everywhere. We had an old ambulance from Fred's father-in-law, not working, using 50 liters of oil over 200 kilometers. And anyway, all sort of shit. But we went all. That still, after a while, it was also when we made the album Choose, where Brötzmann is singing on it. We went to that club in Berlin where we played, and the night before there was a commercial group had played there with an incredible Schlager thing, and that was called Choose. But they left one of the sheets there, and Freddie by Fun was playing there, and Peter was singing there. I said, this has to be recorded, but that was not so much that. I wanted that other sort of not so much Deutsch. Sorry about that. It's only one letter. I wanted that sort of Misha, my thing, into it. And when it came to that, as we say in German, spielerisch, Peter was always strict in the music, but for me, he was much more spielerisch in his paintings, much more. And we drove, in the end, we stayed together, Bennink and Brötzmann. And then finally, I came up with an idea that we could do Black Forest Vaart. And I really loved that. We were always looking to birds. And we were real close, not friends in the meaning of friends. Because Brutz wanted always to go to the cafes. I had no idea to call. Peter had no driver's license, so when we had to come from Kassel to Wuppertal, and I had still to drive from Wuppertal to my place, it was another 300 kilometers in a very slow car. Citroën, but was not driving more than 90 kilometers an hour. I was like, I had my nose full with all. I wanted just to go home and not find time to spend all your energy later on in the nightlife. I was never a person like that, but everybody has his own choice, and Peter was always strict in time. He's a friend for life. I respect him a lot. What I respect from Peter, and I always use that like an example. You have players, they sound exactly like Coltrane, or more than Coltrane, or even further than Coltrane. But if Peter is playing one note on the saxophone, you know it's Peter. And I think when you relate that to art, there's a movement in Art Zero, like Lucio Fontana. He has a knife and he's cutting the canvas and another cut, and that's it. Or you have a guy like Franz Klein who has a huge brush and he pass like that, like a bit like Zen Buddhistic paintings. Peter is exactly like that, and I think that is also the reason that they like him so much in Japan. They have another feeling from his playing. And no, I respect and I see Peter as my brother always.
Mm-hmm. Could you talk a little bit about if there has been an impact on your visual work, your interest in the arts, the visual arts? Earlier you mentioned Schwitters, the Dadaists. You talked about Fluxus in terms of like Peter's maybe his approach to the music. That attitude. You do amazing visual work, like all the record covers for the ICP projects and your own exhibitions. Is there a crossover between your visual work and your music, or do you keep them kind of separate?
Yeah, both. the only answer I actually can give. It's all coming from the same fucking mind. You can't help it. It's there. And it's a very good question, because there were times I said to myself, either you should practice more, or you should have rent out a studio in the middle of Amsterdam with 500 square meters and going like the Koning and Karl Appel. And no, that never was my thing. Mm. The room I had in my own house, I always had beautiful house, very, very tiny, but I had lots of green around me. So the table I worked on, was not big. So for action painting, that's what I do behind the drums. Not even anymore. I still have in that downbeat thing that they see me like clownesque. I always have that stamp like being the clown. What the fuck? You have that probably forever. But a little bit of humor here and there can't do worse to the music, right? It's all that serious shit.
Definitely.
That's too serious for me. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you can tell. Just in looking at the performances in these videos, when you're working with a bike and then you bring in the spokes. Yeah. There's a sense of joy about that, but it's totally phenomenal musically. It's not a joke. It's not a farce.
And can even coming back on that trio thing, you saw with Brötzmann and me, and I go off stage, and then I found some carton boxes, because it is never a major program. No, I go off stage to have Peter and Freddie playing at that time. When carton boxes come on my way, it's to say, hello, can I be part of the performance? Things like that are coming in this grey mud here. And then I take it. And when it's coming, you should answer that question, what a carton box is saying to you right away. When do you have a carton box talking to you? Only when you are in...
Yeah. I guess seize the moment kind of thing, like in the music.
Yeah, right.
Phenomenal. I've got a question from somebody in the audience. I'm just going to open it up. I have a few questions. I'm going to try to get to some of them real quickly. On the record, Marion Brown's Porto Novo album, do you remember, were you playing tablas on that, or is it just a regular conventional drum kit and you're using your hands? Did you play tablas on that record? Do you remember?
Yeah, I guess so. But my tabla playing. Tabla is like Chatulal. It's like Marapuri's Mishra. It's like Dish Kings. It's like George Khan. It's those. I was only fucking around on a tabla because I like the things. I think the best what I've done on tabla was probably on the first one with Willem Breuker. That was also the new acoustic string duo. And later on with, I was playing tabla with a tuxedo on. Hello. Whoever played with a tuxedo on tabla? That already is strange. And you know with who? With fucking Nina Simone. You can see it on the internet. Really, I swear.
Okay, well, let's go to some more music.
Yeah, please
everybody, this is Han Bennink, and you're listening to the Option Talks music program presented by Experimental Sound Studio. Big thanks to them. Big thanks to Tim Daisy and Andrew Klinkman, who helped me with the programming, and to Ralph Loza, who is helping with the tech today. I'd also like to give a big thanks to Annemiek Abink for helping with the technical side today at Han's Place, and to Emma Fisher and Terry X for helping with the video and conversation, which we're going to see a little bit more of now. If you can, please donate. All the money goes to Mr. Han Bennink. Thanks for tuning in.
What?
The Sheik of Araby.
And how do you see yourself as being a band leader?
Oh no. The weird thing is that I have a group. I made 2 recordings with it. It's with Simon Zaandam, a piano player, fantastic from Copenhagen, and Joachim Badenhorst. He lives in Antwerp. He plays bass clarinet, and tenor. But if I have one gig of that trio in 4 years, I'm very happy. Yeah. So I'm band leader from that, and since Misha died, they actually crashed me as a band leader. Maybe because I'm the eldest in the band, and but I don't see myself as a band leader. Although,
but like this with these last recordings,
you're right. I see myself even as a band leader there, and maybe also as a composer. I hate that word. If they ask me sometimes, but I also do something in art. I'm an artist. Hardly can say that, man. I leave that to other people who make less interesting stuff, and they call them artists and componists. No, but I am. In that sense, I am. And I'm also very proud of it. We actually come back now to the point, do you like to play for a big audience or not? But this CD, coming and going, via you also, it has the best reviews I ever had in my life. So I'm 79 now, but we have all reviews from all over the world, and it's fantastic. And that's great to have, that you don't do it for nobody. I don't have to see it, but they receive it, and that there's a need for it. I'm very proud of it. In that sense, I'm probably a band leader. But band leader, and like Ray Charles, who could not even look, and had a guy and said, "Are his shoes polished? Not polished, $40."
But how do you see that in the recording session? Then you were definitely directing the whole operation.
First, that whole operation, I wanted to do all by myself, but then we via the Corona, we had a gig there. And we have 3 guys living in different countries. So Toby lives in Berlin, and Thomas lives in New York, and Tristan also lives in New York somewhere. So it's very hard to have that band together. That's why you are a replacer there, and a fantastic one. And also yours. It gives the band a totally different swing. But that choice was my choice. The choice of yours was my choice.
And also during the
combinations are my choice.
In the whole process, you were directing the combinations and the.
But let's go and next question, Dan.
That's the next question. No, that was quite fascinating to see you directing the whole composition of the whole.
You totally true. I also mentioned that I'm not playing very much on that fucking album. I'm the person who's playing more or less than, like a percussion player.
But still, you had a big influence on the whole operation.
Yeah, right. Yeah, via another way.
Yeah.
Via another control.
Yeah, that's quite new, though.
That's totally new. That's totally new for me.
Yeah, great.
But it's about time.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, that's why I asked the question.
More or less. Lekker percussion.
Goed, Shamik. Heel goed.
You had a back. Back. Influence on the whole. Yeah. Via another way. Yeah. Via another control. Yeah, that's correct. There we go. That's totally. That's about time. Yeah. That's why I asked the question.
I'm glad that that section came up talking about the new record coming and going, which is really amazing. This is
thank you, Ken. Thank you so much.
superb record. And you talked a little bit just now in that video with Terry about the idea of being a quote unquote music director, and that the way the album is put together, it really is a narrative. It's you know, start to finish. It's really cinematic in a way, like or like a novel. You know, like really has a collection of ideas.
Right.
When you went into the recording process, did you have kind of an outline of what you wanted to accomplish, or were you just sort of picking things up spontaneously?
No. Absolutely very good, Ken. Nice questions. I know the lady there, it's about 20 kilometers from here, what is rear, because we live in the outskirts. She has a quality joint with a grand piano, where jazz concerts are, artists are coming, so and so. But in the joint next door, she has a pianola. And I always wanted to have that. Of course, the ICP people, the instant composer people, they can improvise, but the pianola can't improvise. You can play it softer and slower and faster, but that's it. So you should never make it like a gimmick, like having like a recording of Jelly Roll Morton or Thomas Fetswaller and then playing brushes with it. I don't like that. That's me, too cheap. I wanted to see a pianola. If you work on a place where lots is going on, here you have a place you can shoot with guns on somebody. There you have a place with a lady who has 3 tits or something like that, or she has a beard. The next place is a place where you can go with cars. The next place is so. If you go from place to place, you can hear a border in the music. If you do one step to the left or one step to the right, you hear different music. I wanted to have that effect. On the other hand, it's coming and going. We got subsidized for about maybe more than 15 years in Holland. And then also for us, the famous ICP ensemble, the guillotine fought, so we had nothing. So in a way it has to do with that. But it is also a thing to see, okay, we are strong, we go on. We could not let come Toby because of Corona. We could not have Tristan nor Thomas. So I invited my friend Joris Roelofs. He's a bass clarinet player and philosopher where I actually made a duet album with. And Terry, of course, Terry is Terry, but Terry can also play with everybody. He's a sort of, in that way, he's a sort of Brötzmann. He has that sound, and he brings that to this and that. And Terry's question was, I like to play Bach with Guus Jansen, our piano player.
Oh.
So they all had their wishes in that program, and I wanted to have it my idea, and I worked on it for a long time. It became another album, what's called the Tiger Egg. There are only five albums of that by a certain guy in Amsterdam. They cost you hundreds and hundreds of euro. It's like a special art thing. So I had it in mind for more than a year. And then finally I chopped it down to this and that. So in that sense, I'm a sort of composer. Not that I compose the music, but that I compose the coming and going for it. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, the result is just incredible. It's
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Really phenomenal. I've got another question from somebody in the audience I'd like to ask before we run out of time, because the show's going about an hour. It's connected in a way to something I brought up earlier about your, I guess I call it sticking, but the ability with your hands with the sticks. It's from Stefan, I can't pronounce his last name, Paycheck. Does Han's hand control figure into the way he improvises and deals with compositions? Does the memory of like the practice affect your performances and choices, or is that a spontaneous thing, or how does it impact your playing?
Both. It's a spontaneous thing, and of course, Kenny Clarke always used to say, if you want to make yourself clear in a solo, nobody expects you to have a technique like Burry Ridge or something like that, but you should be able, with your figures and rudiments, to make your story. It's like painting. It sounds so easy. They all buy white, they all buy blue, they all buy yellow, but Mondrian is doing some totally different thing than Renoir did it, and that is so interesting. Of course, nobody is unique. You only are unique in the sense that you make your own story, but that story comes from what people did in their life to give it to you. And there you have to learn for, and there are so many, and then you make man, there are so many fantastic drummers, unbelievable, and musicians. But as we say in Holland, and that's a song from the First World War, I think, it's a long way to Tipperary. And it goes like, it's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to home. And that were all those soldiers marching, and even Susanne van Kanon, who's doing my business for more than 30 years, she did that thing walking to Tipperary with her husband, and they came, and it was pissing off the rain. It was nothing like going back to Tipperary. Oh, misery. You know what I mean?
You know, I wanted to ask, this is kind of a great way to get to what will be my last question before we go to the last bit of music and talk with Terry. There's something that I find so powerful in the power as an expression of the power of arts to bring people together, music to bring people together. When you consider when you started working with Peter Brötzmann and the English musicians like Derek Bailey and Evan
Was
Park.
that a dog?
Yeah. We've got dogs here too, and they're making a good time. I'm gonna just close the door real quick.
Hello.
That's the theme. The dogs are the theme for sure.
Man, I love that. I love it.
Hopefully, it'll be a little quiet. But like, you have people from England, to make it just a sort of generalization. You have people from Germany, from Holland, from the Netherlands, from England, working together so soon after World War II. Like you were born then. Peter was born then.
Yeah, right. Well.
How did you? I mean, there's so much there, history there.
Yeah. But I have to interrupt you. Now you say that to me, dear Ken. It's absolutely, I think, Jesus. That's a very good question. But there was, in my eyes, always, when we started to improvise, and I was playing with Misha and improvising, and it got way weirder and weirder, and theater. But you had also people who were doing sort of thing in Germany. That was Peter Brötzmann, Alexander von Sliepenbach, Manfred Schof, and more people. So, but that was more Kunst mit Gewalt. That was more aggressive. Frank Wright, Cecil Taylor. No wonder that Cecil was there, a welcome guest since till the 90s. In England, it was, to speak in painted terms, pointillism, like the Vlaming did. And when you dare to play a fucking blue note by Derek Bailey, he would fucking kill you, because that was not what we said. It had to be totally different by avoiding certain things. Me, or Misha and me in Holland, we didn't have that problem at all. So here it was like a melting pot. And if we wanted to play a blues, we played the blues. At that time, I also recorded with Art Hodis, 80 years old from Chicago. I had that influence. Why should I not playing this, not playing that? Then also what we found out in Germany, for us, for Dutch people, it was Kunst mit Gewalt. In Holland, everything was possible. It was like whore time. And in England it was pointillism. But when we could find that out, we were actually also playing with that. And if you had like somebody like Paul Rutherford or Evan Parker or Derek Bailey, and Misha and me were in the group, and we thought it was the ending. No, they carried on and on and on, because it was, you know what I mean? And that's what we call the English sickness. Sorry about that. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah,
it's long ago.
It's such amazing history, and Han, I really have to thank you so deeply for you taking the time to talk about this history, because you were there. You're here now. I mean, this solo music that you presented, this record coming and going. I mean, the music you're playing is at the forefront still, and it's so inspiring for me. I am so happy to have this chance, and I cannot wait to see you in person. I can't wait to get back up and maybe even visit your amazing place and play in the
weekend. You're more than welcome.
I'm going to take you up on that. I'm excited.
Okay, and thanks so much for this. I loved it.
Okay.
I do many interviews, but this is actually one of the first I really like. And now I have to pee in my park garden. Okay, then. Bye, sweetheart. Bye.
Okay, thank you, Han. Take care.
Bye.
Everybody else, we're going to go to the last stretch of music and conversation between Han Bennink solo and then talking to Terry X. Huge thanks for tuning in. Gigantic thanks to Han Bennink, who's left the stage. And come back next week, every Monday, Option Talks Music. Thanks to ESS, Andrew Klinkman, Tim Daisy, Ralph Loza, and a huge thanks again to Han Bennink for being here and for the incredible music and art he's been creating. It continues to contribute to the world we're in. Beautiful day. Thank you so much.
From the
No, I was wondering if there are one or two or three totally crucial concerts in your life, which were kind of life-changing or an edge in your...
I think many, but I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
gonna tell all my secrets.
No,
You
but
know
that's
what I mean?
why I try to ask.
No, yeah, the only thing.
Like you once thought when you went on the Holland America line and you went to New York and,
Yes.
and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, but now I found it a little bit weird that all younger guys still want to go to New York.
Yeah, now it's great, yeah.
In my time, I had
No,
I had to go through snow from Hilversum on a moped or on a bicycle in the night when my people allowed me to go to see Art Blakey, for example, and I could live on that concert for a month, for half a year. But nowadays they have all these tablets, they see old films, and they go to New York. And I would advise people, but I'm a little bit of a stranger. I'm not. I think for me New York is one of the worst towns in the world. But many people have a different feeling. I rather sit here between my birds in the garden. And if I want to hear some jazz, but I've been there. I've been playing with the greatest guys. I'm not playing with Colton, not with Miles, and not with Monk. Although I almost played with Monk. But for the rest now. I'm very proud on the Sonny Rollins album, what came out after 53 years.
Yeah, amazing.
So I've been playing jazz, I presume, but still I think jazz is an American music.
Yeah.
I'm that old-fashioned. Because in France they go jazz. That has for me a totally different feeling. It's nice.
Definitely, yeah.
For in the improvisation time, like say Derek Bailey, Paul Rutherford, Evan Parker, and those John Stevens and those people, they really, you could recognize this was coming from England, from an island where they speak that language. It was all pointillism, dots, the little dots. They never could end. So we called it in the end, oh, you're playing with an English guy, it's the English sickness. They go on and on and on. And I like to start, and everything can be a start, but from that start to lead it to a good ending. But they want to go on, even when you play 1.5 hours. Sometimes after 1.5 minutes, it's fine for me. You know, and you start another one. So you had that scene. You had a Dutch scene with Misha and me. We didn't give a fuck. We played blueses and all that, what we want. Forbidden by Derek Bailey. Forbidden.
Yeah, incredible.
And then in Germany, it was Kunst mit Gewalt met Alexander von Slietbach and Brötzmann. It was more the Cecil Taylor line.
Yeah.
And in France, it was still all Rococo. Yeah. And that's still happening.
Yeah. And how will the future be of that kind of music?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Sometimes I think, we are one of the last of the Mohicans in business, you know, because the level, the basico is getting more and more, is more. You can do this, you can listen to that, you can do that and that. So it's very hard to get an audience for our music, and because this music is also a little bit aged, and you have to do with younger people. They are more into that's all. It's hard to listen to, but it sometimes happens that we play somewhere, and people are coming to me and say, I never listened to this music before, and I really like it. And why did I never listen to that? You know, questions like that.
No, that's fascinating.
But as I told you before, the music I do will never be popular, and I don't want to be popular. I do my whole life.
Yeah.
Again, I'm 79 now, so I'm in my 80th year. Fuck hell. Yeah. But I'm there. But I never want to be a pop star. I had questions. Like in 1969, the Soft Machine was quite a good group, They wanted me to record with them. And I've been playing with Gato Barbieri, that's a South American style. And but for the rest, I just like to play what I have to play via my feeling.
And the strong point is that you always be Han Bennink, of course.
That's,
I mean, that's recognizable.
Even when you play time or even play, you play the other thing. Yeah. But then we come to a point, whereabout is it? You can say jazz, but it belongs very much to a person who is doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Louis Armstrong is jazz, but Coltrane is also jazz. Yeah. But then you have people in France, they play jazz. I have no idea if that is jazz for me, but that is fine.
Yeah, well, certainly Ethiopian jazz.
Yeah. Nou ja, Ethiopian jazz, for example, those old band, the police band of Haile Selassie band, weet je. Those were examples from the big bands coming to Ethiopia and what they saw, like the saxophones dressed up and doing that sort of stuff. But they have their own, they kept their own music.
They keep their own identity,
Yeah, that is exactly the identity.
Yeah, great.